tonight, a teenager accused of stabbing a pregnant woman during a terrifying home invasion.
Pauline Hanson and Bill Shorten missing in action ahead of the Super Saturday by-elections.
A man flown to hospital after being hit by a falling tree at Port Stephens.
And $160 billion gone. A Wall Street record as investors hit the dislike button on Facebook.
This is NBN News with Natasha Beyersdorf and Lobb.
Good evening and welcome to NBN News. Sorry for the late start after a technical issue. She was home alone and at her most vulnerable. A heavily pregnant woman has been stabbed 6 times by an intruder in Sydney's north. Her alleged attacker, a teenage boy who lives just a few streets away.
Trying to guard her unborn child and stop an intruder in his tracks. Pai Wing-Chia was set upon inside her Mount Colah home at 9 o'clock last night. As she fought back, she was stabbed 6 times in the chest and abdomen by the intruder police allege was a 14-year-old local boy. The victim stumbled to her neighbour's home, collapsing on the doorstep.
She was just knocked on our door and said she'd been attacked and help me, help me.
They wrapped her in blankets until paramedics arrived.
Yeah, there was a drop of blood on the porch, but the blood was mainly on the clothing.
We were worried about some of her vital signs and how she was travelling at that point in time. Where the stab wounds were located certainly had significant potential of underlying injury and deterioration.
The 33-year-old who practices as a physiotherapist and Pilates instructor at her own studios had been home alone at the time of the attack.
She was very stressed. Very stressed, which it would be, she's home by herself.
It sparked a large-scale police search across the suburb. An hour later, the 14-year-old boy was tracked down just 2 streets away. His father was called to speak with investigators today.
We're about to go to the station now to talk to the police officers.
Is he violent?
Hasn't been before.
Are you upset? Are you disappointed?
Yes.
Forensic officers have been at the home here at Mount Colah for a number of hours today. They are searching the property here to try and establish exactly how the offender got in, as well as search for the weapon. Colleagues of the health and fitness professional, as well as her neighbours, are still trying to make sense of what's happened.
My main thoughts and prayers are that she's fine, the baby's fine. The Prime Minister has copped some heat from angry Queensland voters during the last day of campaigning for the Super Saturday by-elections. Malcolm Turnbull, meanwhile, attacked Bill Shorten for taking a break, while One Nation had a novel way of countering its leader's disappearing act.
She's here right now. With a real Hanson on a cruise, fake Pauline's multiplied on Queensland's polling booths.
She's obviously not going to be here in person, but she's here in spirit.
As the Prime Minister took aim at an opposition leader momentarily missing in action.
He's not fronting up anywhere as far as we can see.
Before wishing he was somewhere else himself.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm sorry, Malcolm.
Tomorrow's 5 by-elections run from the west, where the coalition is running dead in 2 Labor seats, through South Australia, where a former coalition heavyweight won't be able to stave off his daughter's heavy loss to a popular independent, to the fierce contests in Queensland's Longman.
One Nation, number 1. And LNP, Stone Motherless last.
And Tasmania's Braddon.
Obviously, I'd like to see it to go green.
These 2 races for seats Labor won in 2016 will go down to the wire.
They are very close.
We know it's hard to win, we don't take anything for granted, but Justine is a great MP.
There is some sign the party's messages are getting through.
We have fought against cuts to the pension.
And I'm voting for Labor because they look after the pensioners.
A vote for Susan Lamb is a vote for Bill Shorten.
They like Labor, but they don't like the Labor leader.
In 117 years of by-elections, the government has only won a seat from the opposition once. And that weight of history is putting a lot of pressure on Labor. The 9-week spotlight on 2 seats has exhausted the voters.
It's politics. What can I say? That's all it comes down to.
And any close result means that the politics won't end on Saturday night. Chrissy Ullman, NBN News.
A man has spinal, chest and leg injuries after being struck by a falling tree at Port Stephens. The incident occurred on land behind homes at Anna Bay. Paramedics arrived to find the 68-year-old pinned by the tree trunk. He was freed by emergency services and flown to Newcastle's John Hunter Hospital in a serious condition.
Newcastle police are hunting a dreadlocked bandit who attacked a service station worker at Lambton, repeatedly striking him in the head. The offender, African in appearance and likely aged in his early 20s, entered the servo at around 11 last night. He jumped the front counter and got through security wires and demanded cash before assaulting the employee and fleeing with cash. The victim suffered swelling and bruising.
A shortage of people wanting answers at today's community information session into the use of PFAS at the Singleton Army Base. The chemical was used in firefighting operations there, but Defence doesn't believe it's a situation similar to Williamtown due to the geological differences between the locations.
We don't see any great need for concern at this period of time. We want to keep people informed as the investigation takes place, and we're going to be open and transparent with the people of Singleton.
The department will review residents' water usage patterns and test soil over the next year to discover the extent of contamination, if any.
What could be a world-first treatment for ice addiction is being clinically trialled in the Hunter. The study is testing whether a drug used for ADHD is effective in reducing addicts' cravings and withdrawal symptoms.
It's a scourge medical professionals and police are trying to stamp out nationwide. Now, Hunter researchers are testing whether an existing medication used to treat ADHD can help combat methamphetamine use, which, aside from counselling, has no proven medical treatment.
So the idea essentially is that a medication plus some counselling together might help people stay around longer to get the benefits of being able to talk about how to change things, but also get some positive benefits from the medication.
Professor Adrian Dunlop is Director of Drug and Alcohol Clinical Services for Hunter New England Health. He says the medication has a similar effect to ice, but isn't as dangerous.
The same approach is used in nicotine replacement therapy. People put a patch on, so they're still getting some nicotine, but not in a harmful way like smoking. So this is the same analogy. People are still getting an amphetamine-like drug, but not in as high a dose. So it's giving it in a more controlled fashion and also under medical supervision.
180 people are being recruited to take part in the study.
If they make contact with our service, we can assess to see if they can come into the study.
Emma Murphy, NBN News.
New figures show the Hunter is in good financial shape, but economic experts say we may have reached a peak. Rising house prices in Newcastle, along with global coal prices, have helped drive positive business sentiment, while business confidence remains at levels experienced in the mining boom. But with household spending down, the Hunter Research Foundation says the region's outlook is softening.
It's improving the standard of teaching across the country, and it's set to grow thanks to a multi-million-dollar grant. The unique program, created by a University of Newcastle academic, helps educators develop their skills by educating each other.
I want to be a doctor when I grow up. A teacher and a cop, because it helps everybody to be healthy.
It's these little people's big dreams that the Quality Teaching Rounds program is aimed at making come true. Since it was introduced in 2009, more than 200 schools have participated, and that's set to grow, with the program selected as a beneficiary of a $16.4 million Paul Ramsay Foundation grant.
We anticipate that by the end of the 5-year period, we should roll this out to more than 3,500 schools, not only in New South Wales but across the country.
It unites teachers to look at how they're educating children and develop ways of improving their methods.
It's a way of teachers working together where they go into each other's classrooms and observe practice using that lens of the quality teaching model to do really specific and critical analysis of their own and each other's practice.
The grant will help evaluate the program's success and develop a business model for an outreach hub to support ongoing professional development. Emma Murphy, NBN News.
2 distinguished Hunter paramedics are retiring, having clocked up a combined 71 years of service. Among them, Assistant Commissioner Jamie Vernon, who's helped save many lives, including during the Pasha-Bulka storm.
39 years in the job, much of it managing the crucial ambulance control centre here at Charlestown. Among Jamie Vernon's greatest achievements, improving the 000 service statewide and successfully leading the response to major emergencies.
If you want a job where you work as a team, this is the job for you. We train you, we'll look after you.
Now it's time to focus on his supportive wife and family.
I met her in just in October of 1979. I joined in August 1979, so she's been with me on the journey all around the state.
A familiar face in the Hunter, Peter Rumble's been saving lives for 32 years. He's also championed the rights of paramedics as a union rep, achieving better conditions and improving ways of treating patients.
So I think it's about time that stop fighting the system, because I can't match the system any longer, so I'll leave on a note that I'm happy with.
There'll be big shoes to fill. Tonight sees his final shift.
Spending more time with Steph, my wife. She's been a very patient lady, so she deserves some time.
An emotional day for two paramedics farewelling a much-loved job.
You help people, you sort out problems. I think it's a brilliant career.
Jane Goldsmith, NBN News.
Later tonight, the Jets touchdown in Spain.
Also ahead, how a tree saved the life of a driver and her dog.